Welcome to Lead with Hope with Brandy Kelly, the podcast where we explore the power of hope, leadership, and resilience in today's world. Each week, we'll bring you stories, insights, and actionable advice from leaders, innovators, and change makers. So let's dive in and discover how you can lead with hope.
Good morning, Katie Kinder. How are you doing today?
Hi, Brandy Kelly. I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. I've been looking forward to connecting with you here on this podcast, Lead with Hope. And I am so looking forward to hearing more about your story and your educational journey. So with that, why don't we start off? Tell us about your story. Tell us why you got into education. Tell us about Katie.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Well, I did not take a traditional path to education, actually. So my mom is a rock star educator. She was a principal for many years, became a superintendent. And I was this like petulant kid that said that I didn't want to live her life, you know. And she was like, I think you're a teacher. I think it's in your blood. And I was like, you don't know me. Right. And so I went to college and I got a public relations degree and I was working and I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was just kind of like, meh. Mm-hmm. And I worked for the MDA, which is the Muscular Dystrophy Association, doing fundraising. And so the DECA, and I give all my props here to MDA for leading me to my calling, because the DECA chapters are a national sponsor of MDA. And so once a month, I got to go and pull up to a school and my heart would just like pitter pat. And they were my best days. And it took me 2 full years to call my mom and tell her she was right. I mean, how many times do we call our moms and be like, I'm sorry, or you were right? And she tried to ground me. I was 24. I'm just kidding.
I had no idea.
She's like, give me your keys. You're grounded. Just kidding. And so I went back and I got certified and I stepped into an English classroom, 9th grade, and knew nothing. I knew nothing. No student teaching. Hadn't watched anyone teach. And I stepped into this 9th grade English class and wondered why they were eating my lunch. You know, mm-hmm. I tried to teach them the way that I'd been taught, which was straight rows, read out of the book. I sat on my stool of drool, mm-hmm. which is what Ron Clark calls it. And so I started like learning. I just became a sponge. And I'm the same way still to this day in like the speaking game and facilitating. And I just feel like we always have to be. We tell our students that, right? Like, you need to have a growth mindset, or we tell our teachers that, or we tell. And so I started like watching anybody I could, the teacher of the year. I started YouTubing and found Ron Clark and read his books, watched his, videos. And he just talked about how it can be different. And he says, there's this English teacher who's sitting on her stool of drool and she's boring. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like he's talking about me.
Yeah.
So I started changing. And that's when it started getting good, mm-hmm. and started learning and getting better. And I really found my sweet spot is middle school. Mm-hmm. So 7th, 8th grade, I spent the majority of my career at one middle school in Oklahoma City, and they still have my heart. And, I got a hold of Dave Burgess, Teach Like a Pirate. And I just started taking big risks because we ask our kids to take big risks. Mm-hmm. And so we're like gamifying the room, we're blacking out the windows, doing all kinds of cool poetry. And I started, winning awards and I love it. And it's absolutely what I was meant to do.
Yeah. That is awesome. And that story is so inspirational. There's so much gold in what you just said. I want to start, though, by unpacking that mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
I absolutely know. And you think back to your relationship with your mother. why is there so much angst with that? Because there is, and it's so hard for us to admit that mothers are always right. I
Why
can
are
say
they
that now.
right? I can too. My sweet daughter, who's 16 and thinks she knows what life is all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you are living it right now. Now, my daughter's raised, so now she knows that I'm always right.
I'm
She's
looking,
circle.
listen, I'm looking forward to that as I ground her.
Yeah. I can't do that anymore, though. My daughter has her own family, and so that doesn't really work for me anymore. So I do miss those days, but
Sure.
it is nice to be able to have that different relationship and to grow together. And now Morgan and I are doing Lead with Hope together.
Yes,
And
I love it.
it's
So
so
much
much fun. But the other thing that you talked about, we're like-minded in that the sweet spot for both of us, junior high.
Yeah.
I love those kids.
Me too. Me too. I'm like, I kind of say like 3rd grade to 10th grade, I feel like. And no tea, no shade on early elementary. I'm so glad you're here and doing the things because I don't want to wipe snot. I don't want to do that.
No. Nope.
And it's funny because my last name is Kinder and I married into it. It's not a stage name. People were like, is that your stage name? I'm like, no, I married into it.
Yeah.
It is.
And Katie, I thought you would be a kindergarten teacher because of your name, honestly.
I know people come to my sessions like, oh, it's the kindergarten teacher. I'm like, actually, hi, I'm not. That's just my last name.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I'm so glad that the early elementary people are there because I love them and I think that what they do is so important. And then like juniors and seniors, I'm not opposed, but they're pretty cooked. And I think you can still have a huge impact in that arena. But that's kind of the sweet spot for me too.
Absolutely. And you talk about the growth mindset, and that's so powerful for not only educators, but also our students and vice versa. But I had no idea that your mom was a principal.
I mean, and not even just a principal. She is a transformational leader. She has her own book that I wrote. You're welcome, Mom. And it's called Miracle on Southwest Boulevard because she was the last ditch effort of Tulsa Public Schools to save this elementary school. And they had very little enrollment. The building was falling down. They were going to shut it down. And they were like, okay, well, good luck. And in 7 years, Brandy, she turns that place around. She has a community garden where every single family in the low-income housing projects across the street, which was her student population, they all have a plot of, I know, and she got a grocery store put on campus. She started a foundation. I mean, enrollment when she retired, enrollment was at an all-time high. Like people wanted in, and she just did amazing things. So she is more than just a principal or superintendent. Like she's the epitome of what we all strive to be. So if you want to know more about Cindy Him, Miracle on Southwest Boulevard. So good.
That is so amazing. And I hear the pride in your voice when you talk about your mom. And she had to be such an amazing role model for you to grow up with.
Yeah, absolutely. And she was, and that's the thing, like we're both strong females.
Yeah.
My own daughter's a strong female. And so, with that comes, we'll butt some heads sometimes. But I called her the other day and said, do you remember when you would make food magically appear 7 nights a week when we were growing up? I just want to say thank you because I don't want to do it. Like,
oh, I know the struggle is definitely real for sure. Yeah. So moving into our next question, my acronym Lead with Hope, it's a system of self-efficacy. So H is for habits, O is for optimistic outlook, P is for passion, purpose, and perseverance. Some people call that grit. And then finally, E is for excellence. So what resonates most with Katie Kinder?
Gosh, I love that acronym. And I like your cup of hope.
Yeah, thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
And as I'm sitting here drinking my coffee, feeling like I'm hopeful, you too. Cheers. And I really want to, my new mission in life right now is to love on these teachers because they feel hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they're not supported. They feel like some of our systems are broken, which is true.
Yeah.
And if you get caught up in that, then you won't sustain for our kids, and our kids deserve the best teachers. So I want to uplift them that you can be successful, you can have fun with kids, you can hold kids to high standards, high academic standards, high social emotional standards, and also be life changing and really with some simple practical strategies. And so I have been going all over the nation, loving on these teachers. And of course, I love all the teachers, but those baby teachers in their first 5 years,
Yeah.
they're leaving 60% of them are not leaving in the first 5 years. Oh, Brandy, like we won't sustain that way.
No.
And so I just want to give them the hope. And it's been really cool because I'm connected with all of these teachers all over the nation. And they email me, they text me, this happened today. What would you do? And I'm always uplifted when they do. I'm like, this is what I would do. Let me know how it goes. And so that's what I've been doing. So that's what really means to me right now in this stage of my life.
Mm-hmm. That's powerful. And it's so inspirational. You are a mentor on a national level.
Mm, mm. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm blessed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes am like, we were talking about how February's been busy for both of us before we came on the recording. And I was in Austin, and then I'm going to Kansas, and then I'm in Tulsa, and then I fly to New York City. And I'm like, sometimes when I feel really tired, I'm like, I am so grateful for this life and to be able to love on the teachers everywhere.
Oh, that's so powerful. I love that, Katie. And thank you. Thank you for doing that because like you said, education is the best profession in the world, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And we're not going to sustain it if our teachers continue to resign. So we have to create better systems and better structures so that they can be empowered with that growth mindset and be supported to take risks and to have fun with kids and to really push the limits. I think that is so amazing. And I love that about you.
Absolutely. Well, and I think they do get stuck. And even our vet teachers, our vet teachers who've been doing it for 20 years, we've always done it this way is not ever a reason to continue doing anything. We know that. They know that. But I think they get so busy that they just they hand their baby teachers a packet of worksheets. This is what we do. Good luck. Yeah. And then the baby teachers feel like they have to do it. And then we just start this cycle of mediocre lessons and teaching. And that's why I think the right professional development is so impactful. When teachers can go to a big conference and learn and feel empowered, like you said, to try something new, I think that's really important that we give that space to our teachers to reignite that passion in their hearts.
Yeah. Passion is so powerful. And I know that's what you do in your sessions whenever you're a keynote speaker or you do workshops or whatever. And I know you go to many schools around the country. So in a little while, I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell people how to connect with you. But you have provided a perfect segue into your passion. So right now, what is a project that you are undertaking that you are super passionate about?
Well, I am currently, I don't know if we've said it publicly, but Darren Peppard and I are collaborating on some projects. So we have and it's about culture and classroom culture and school culture and how you take your current culture and flip it. And so some practical strategies to do that. And then we are also headed to North Carolina at the end of March, and we are doing a joint presentation at the North Carolina Middle Level Educators Association, shout out. And also, I just always have these things just like clinking around in my head. I know you do too.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can I serve this way? What blog can I write? What video can I make? What I really have been loving is doing a contract with a school in which I come in, I kick off their district, and then I get to come in once a month and like do deep dives with teachers. Like no admin around, sometimes admin's around, but like go ahead and just tell me. And it's been really powerful. So I did that with a district this past year, and I had this anonymous post-its, and I will answer throughout our day together. And by the end of the day, we just had tears and hugs and just vulnerability that they could share and giving that space. So that's really what I've been focused on.
Yeah, that's a safe space for those teachers. That's very cool. Very cool. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel like that. Like, and I think I felt like that as a new teacher. Like you think you're supposed to know everything, and also you don't. And also all of the acronyms, the IEPs and the PLCs and the RTIs and the and if you ask somebody what that means and they scoff at you, or you know, I just think that you can ask for help from someone who's not your admin, who's not going to come into your classroom and evaluate you, and who's not the teacher down the hall who's going to tell on you. Like, and not that that's happening. Well, it might be happening, but you could actually come to me, and I am none of those things, but I also can be your coach. I can be your friend, and I can just I can be a sounding board for you. Absolutely. And I love that.
Yeah. It's psychological safety. It's you know, helping these individuals who love kids and they love education, and it's giving them someone to support them that isn't necessarily going to be there day in and day out.
True.
In the building, but you can reach out to and you can have access to. So I love that, Katie. And I think that it's so important also as we are, I'm hoping, redefining what education looks like, and we're doing a better job of it as we're rebuilding in some of our schools and organizations. But, you know, we have that imposter syndrome. We have individuals who think that you have to have that badge of busyness in order to be worthy. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to have a vision and a mission. And if it doesn't align with your vision and mission, you can say no. You don't have to serve on every committee in the district, right?
Yes, yes, that is so true. I think that I was just listening to a keynote, Beth Huff, and she's wonderful. And she said, busyness is not a badge of honor, just like you just said.
Yep.
And it's okay. It's actually a requirement that you rest. Like you have to. And so if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not taking care of your family, how can you take care of students? You can't.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's really, really cool. And one other thing that I found that's been really powerful for teachers is that I have sessions for students. And that I could come into your class, and I've done this and it's so fun. I can teach your class how to have a proper Socratic seminar. So I'm not a consultant that is like, this is what you should do. Good luck. Like, no, like I will come in and I will, you know, get my hands in it, and you can watch. And I think that that's a really powerful thing. And you know this as a leader in a district, that you have to jump in and roll your sleeves up, to have respect, to have. And so, and I already know that you're doing that because we've had other conversations.
Yeah.
And so covering classes, picking up the chairs metaphorically and literally, cleaning off the, you know, tables at the cafeteria, like just serving. And that's how you have a culture that's positive, that we all lean on each other and we trust each other.
Yeah. And that's how you you said the practical tips for improving your culture. That's how you build culture. You know, I had shared with you earlier that right now I'm kind of serving a double role of principal and superintendent in my district. And, you know, the things that fill my cup are when the students come up. And I had a student just on Friday, and this is it. It's the most important thing. And she came up to me and she said, "You know what, Mrs. Kelly, we appreciate you."
Oh.
I mean, for a student to say that to you, that is so impactful. And they don't even understand what they just did for me.
Right.
You know?
Well, and mostly our Gen Zers and our Generation Alpha that's coming up, they are self-centered because that's how we were as teenagers as well.
Mhm.
But
Absolutely.
for our teenagers to step outside of that and see that we are human and that we need those kinds of words of encouragement too is really powerful, and a testament to what you're doing, that your teachers and your kids can look at you and be like, thank you, queen. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's also, and I know we both agree with this, it's important for our girls to have a very positive female leadership role model. It's important for our boys to have the positive male role models as well. But, the female leadership, I know that's near and dear to both of our hearts, because we're not only mothers, but we're also raising strong females, or have raised strong females. And it's important. It's important that we show our girls that we can do anything we set our minds to.
100%. And unfortunately, in 2024, there is still a glass ceiling in education.
Yeah.
So 90% of our teachers are female. But as you climb that ladder into principalship, superintendent, those kinds of things, it's a majority male. And I think that it is important you're a superintendent. My mom's a superintendent.
Mhm.
And I think all of that's really powerful for our students to see. And I think it's changing. And I think you're the reason it's changing. I think your strong daughter that you have raised, that's the reason it's changing. And I know, the group that we're in with Darren, and I know there are males in that who are in leadership who are amplifying our voices as well. So I know that we're on the right track.
Oh, absolutely. And Katie, I am so grateful that we were able to connect on social media, and then now we're staying connected, in other ways as well. And thank you so much for coming on today. You're an amazing educator, an amazing person. I look forward to collaborating with you on projects in the future. Ideas are already rumbling around in my head about potential ideas. But as we wrap up this episode of the Lead with Hope podcast, why don't you tell the listeners how they can connect with you, bring you into their schools, and have that impact on education that we all want?
Oh, Brandy, you're precious. First off, I look forward to being in person and having our cup of hope together and talking education. I could just go on forever, and I know you could too.
Yes.
Okay, everyone, I would love to come into your school. I've got some conferences coming up that I will be speaking, and you can go to katiekinder.com and you can find all of the things. You can email me, untoldteachingtruths@gmail.com. Also, it sounds silly to say, I'm Googleable. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous. But I was just at a conference, and the lady said, there was a lady who ended up emailing me, and she said, I couldn't remember your name, but I remember that you were that teal glasses lady. And she goes, and so I Googled that teal glasses lady education speaker, and you came up. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing that ever happened. And so you can come into my Twitter DMs, my Instagram DMs, my Facebook, and I would love to hear from you, even if you just need a word of encouragement. Like, I think I'm quitting. Talk me off that ledge. Absolutely.
For sure. Absolutely. And we all need that inspiration, that hope. And thank you for being that source of hope in our world today, Katie.
Well, thank you for being here. And having me on here. This is really cool. Cup of hope. I love it.
I love it. Yes. So you have a great Saturday, and I look forward to collaborating with you again in the very near future.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at teachbetter.com/podcasts, and we'll see you at the next episode.